3 reasons you aren't growing and have no gains. All right, guys and girls, there are so many myths that circulate in the fitness community, and I'm gonna dispel 3 of them right now. And number 1 is gonna be the more you train, the more you grow. So most people think frequency is king, no matter if you're a natural or enhanced athlete. And they think, oh, if my biceps are weak, I need to train them 3 times a week or 2 times a week. But I've always thought, what if I train them adequately 1 to 2 times a week or once every 5 days? Do I really need increased frequency? And the answer for me is always no, because I'm more of a bro split kind of guy, or as Fuad would call it, a pro split. So when I'm thinking about that, like more is, I'm going to tell you a quote from Chris Aceto. He always said this: more is better unless it's not. And if you think about that, that applies in all walks of life, but specifically for training. And a huge mistake that most beginners and amateurs, and honestly even advanced level competitors and athletes make, is they hate rest days because they equate rest days with lack of progress. And to me, I too fit in that category. I used to love to train 5, 6, 7 days a week because I thought, oh, the more I'm in the gym, the more I'm growing, the more I'm eating because my food is higher on a training day. Well, what I found is, specifically as I aged, 4 to 5 days a week is ideal for growth for me. And when I pulled back my training frequency, that's when my body really took off and exploded, because those rest days allow my body to recover, but also mentally recharge, so that when I came in the gym, I was ready to rip weights apart. Now, what you'll say is, Chris, oh, you didn't love it before? Oh no, I like training 7 days a week, but the fire and vigor in which I would come in after an off day was another level. And that's because it's one of those, like, absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? Go stay 2 weeks away from your wife like I did, and then enjoy the benefits of when you get home. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Rest days are important. Number 2, your body can only digest 30 grams of protein per meal. And I just laugh at that, right? So if you compare literally, like, let's say just my brother and I, we have the same parents, we're roughly the same age, and our activity level, he probably burns and expends a lot more calories than I do on a day-to-day basis. But I would say that based upon my body weight, I burn a lot more calories in terms of per second, even though his expenditure for the total day is probably drastically higher. So when you look at that, there's no way you can say him weighing 165, 170 and me weighing in the off season as much as 255, 260 can ingest, process, and benefit from the same level of protein. Now, let's compare that to, say, a 110-pound female. You're telling me I'm the same as a 110-pound female? That's laughable to me, to assume that all humans are going to be the same when I'm coming in and wrecking the gym 4 to 5 times a week. So what I need you to consider is these blanket statements and these studies that are done aren't done on people like me, or people even like my brother, who is an extreme athlete. They're done on, like, college frat bros. And I'm sorry, like, if you're eating fucking pizza rolls and doing cocaine off somebody's ass at a frat party, like, you aren't going to ingest and digest nearly the amount of protein that my body needs to rest, repair, and recover, because you aren't replacing the same level of demand on it. At 19, I wasn't applying the same level of demand on my body that I am now at 40. Because I'm way better at training. So I need you guys to think about these, like, large blanket statements. And then when you factor in people who say use PEDs when you have increased protein synthesis, now we're unlocking a whole new realm of possibilities. So to say, oh, I'm only going to eat 4 ounces of cooked meat, and that's more than enough to grow, and think that that's the truth because some study shows it, is laughable to me. Because I have the anecdotal evidence to show you, when I take people's protein from 6 to 8, from 8 to 10, that they grow substantially faster, they recover better, and I have the before and afters to prove it. But Chris, no, I'm telling you, I have the before and afters to prove it. The amount of clients I've helped just by simply increasing their protein consumption is ridiculous. And that's from the day one of me training people at 22. Because when I started out as a personal trainer, I didn't deep dive into people's nutrition. I just said, hey, like, I want you to increase your protein by double what you're eating now. So a lot of times people would say, I'm only eating 2 or 3 times a day. Easy, now we're gonna eat 4 times a day and your protein is doubled. I'm not even increasing the portion sizes yet. Then once we do that, then I say, take you from 4 ounces to 6 ounces. And then as we begin to train harder and the demand on recovery becomes higher, then I might take you to 7 and then 8. And the next thing you know, you're like, Chris, I have 50 pounds of new muscle tissue in the last 3 years. And all we really did was increase my lean protein consumption and train harder and more effectively and more efficiently. Yeah, funny how that works, right? So again, dispel that myth. If you hear it, throw it in the garbage. For most people, as a general rule of thumb, I like 1.5 grams at minimum per pound of body weight. If you're really trying to push growth, as much as 2 grams per pound of body weight. So there's you a take-home message to apply today. Final thing here, high reps are for toning. How many times has Chaz got me on camera doing rear laterals for sets of 30, reverse pec deck for 30, hanging swings for 100 reps, leg press for 20 plus, hack squat for 20 plus. And if I'm just talking about my 2 best body parts, meaning legs and shoulders, I need you to consider that. Like, there's nothing about my legs that are toned. They're fucking big and they're hard. And that's because ever since I was 30, my reps on legs were always north of 15 or 10. So dispel that myth right now. High reps or low reps don't tone the muscle. Sets to failure grow the muscle. If I put you in a vacuum and made you do sets of 18 to 25 where your last rep was extremely miserable, I guarantee the target muscle would grow. I just know it in my heart. Because it's hard, it challenges it. If you need to progressively get stronger with that, with the same rep range. That's how we grow muscle, right? The body doesn't know total reps. It knows effort and it knows load. So if you think about that, a set of 6 that is miserable versus a set of 20 that is miserable, I would argue is going to do the same amount of growth. And honestly, the higher reps is going to give you more time under tension, which is going to give you the blown out round muscle that everyone's after, right? Like, that's why when people look at me and say, Chris, like, it looks like you have shoulder pads underneath your t-shirt, because the muscle is round, it's full, and that's from all the reps that I do for delts. If you notice, I stopped shoulder pressing a decade ago. Does it look like it? No. It looks like I shoulder press 315 like Ronnie used to rip around, right? But fun fact, I use 20 to 30 pounds on dumbbell rear and side laterals, and that's it. I also do some reverse pec decks, some cables, and some bands. But in the grand scheme of life, I could train and grow and improve shoulders on anyone with dumbbells that range from 5 to 40 and then 2 bands from lead FTS. I believe that in my heart. And guess where our reps are going to be for shoulders? All north of 15. So remove that high reps of returning bullshit. If you want to tone the muscle, which technically just means for most people, see the definition within it, we got to get the body fat off. And that comes from eating in a calorie deficit and doing our cardio. So little bonus tip there. You can't tone a muscle. You can only get the fat off of it. It either grows, the muscle either grows or it shrinks. There's no toning it. You just melt the fat off around it. So if you want to look skinless, like I did in this arm workout, it's because all the fat's gone. So until next time, like, share, subscribe. If you have any cool fitness myths you want to see me rant on, post them below, and I will rip into those things like a mother. Or maybe I'll agree with them and be like, no, you're wrong. It's not a myth. That's the truth. So like one, for example, that I might list off the top of my head, like fasted cardio isn't more effective. Well, I think fasted cardio is pretty fucking effective or I wouldn't do it. So again, I'm not going to ramble anymore. It's been a long video. Until next time, Chris TV.